And I want to like just kind of open with, I always like to open calls with inspiration and kind of appreciation, because let's face it, if we are experiencing anxiety or stress or whatever it is, negative energy, right? We can't feel, you can't fit, I never really thought about this like a long time ago, but you can't experience anxiety and joy in the same moment. Like you just can't. It's not possible. So when we focus on, so it's so easy for us to get caught up in the negative, in the why isn't this happening for me? Or I feel stuck, or I don't feel well physically, or mentally, why am I just like, whatever, right? It's so easy to get stuck in those things. And we forget to appreciate where we are. We forget to appreciate what we have done, how far we have come, why we're doing this, right? And just so many things that we have to be thankful for and grateful for. And when you focus on those things, that energy increases and you grow in that way, right? And it's a simple mindset shift and it's easier said than done. But when we retrain our brain to focus on so many of the things that we maybe do have control over instead of the things that we don't have control over, or putting energy into something that serves us instead of energy into something that does not serve us, right? So with that being said, I want to, I'm like not an expert at journaling. Not that I don't know if there's an expert level, but I'm not somebody who's done a lot of journaling. So this is kind of a new journey for me. But I am someone who's worked a lot on my mindset and mind shift and kind of how I can uncover things in ways that I feel like I can improve, and things that I feel like are slowing me down because of maybe a past experience or different things, right? And I love to dig into that kind of stuff and just sort of move through that and learn about myself. So why haven't I been journaling this whole time? I don't know, but it's like anything else. You make it a priority, and if it helps you, then you make it part of your routine, right? And I like to own my morning. So I wake up and I work out and I read personal development and I share my story and my journey and I say affirmations and all these things. So why am I not journaling? So it's just like anything else. We just have to put it into our day and kind of like get good at it, right? And get good at putting our thoughts out on paper. And it feels weird, maybe, and maybe it doesn't. But I think for me, I think that it would have used to, like, the old me would have felt like this is kind of weird. Like, why is this really going to help? But it's amazing. It's powerful how much we bottle up and we don't get it out on paper, how much we just let things kind of build and build and go, and we ignore. Like, the number one thing so many of us do is ignore the things that are bothering us, push them to the side, maybe just not acknowledge that we have a block, or that we have something that is preventing us from doing so much greatness, right? Okay, so we're gonna start with, I have three journaling prompts, and then Olivia is going to help us, and she's going to share three writing prompts she wanted to share, because she is an advocate for all the mindset stuff, and she's journaling and she has so much to share. So we're going to share this and both share a few writing prompts that came to mind from like when we were thinking about what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do this. So we're just going to start. So, and feel free to like comment, feel free to message in the chat, feel free to like, at the end, if anyone wants to share, perfect. If you don't, no pressure. But if anyone like feels like, I would love to know if anyone has like, oh my gosh, like a breakthrough or something that they write that they're like, whoa, or they think of something that they've never really thought before. Because when you start writing, I've only experienced this because I post on social media a lot because I share my story. And that's part of what I do as a coach with health and fitness, is I just share my journey and inspire people. But what I didn't realize is when you start writing, like if I have one thought, just a simple thought of like, maybe it's how far I've come. right? And I start writing it out. It's like things start to flow and you start to dig into where you were and the girl 6 months ago and the girl a year ago or whatever. And I can you just start to think about stuff and it comes out, right? And so that's why I think journaling is so important, is we don't think it's going to be as powerful as it really is until we do it and we really put focus into it. So the first thing, and I'm just going to play some meditation music. Maybe we'll hate it and maybe we won't do it. But I just thought it would be fun to play some. And if you are someone, it's so that, because I don't want to hear words, I just want to kind of have some kind of chill, peaceful feeling. And you can turn it down if you don't want to listen to that. And if we don't like it, we can always not do that. But so the first one is going to be, the first prompt is write about your biggest accomplishment last week or today so far. Big or small, it doesn't matter. Something that, it could be the smallest thing. It could be your reaction to a situation that you felt like you handled really well. It could be just that you stuck to a routine that you've been struggling to stick to. I mean, it could be a million things, right? So if you have questions, but that's pretty self-explanatory. And then I will put it in the chat. I'll go ahead and put it in the chat. Katrina, just so you know, we just started our journaling prompts. So the first thing we're going to write about is your biggest accomplishment this today. It's like a brand new week. So today or yesterday. So this week so far, or last week, big or small. Celebrate it, get excited about it. Because again, if we're not focusing on the things that we are doing that are moving us forward and helping us, then what are we doing? We can't focus on all the other things that we're not doing because that's not important. We need to focus on what we are doing and how we're moving forward. So that's the first prompt. Let's take I don't know, we'll see. Just comment done when you're done. Don't rush it. Feel free to do whatever. And we'll maybe about 5 minutes, All right, I'm gonna play this music. Okay, can you not even hear the music? Olivia's like, well, it's like just like spa music. I don't know. I just typed in like meditation music on my Pandora. That's as loud as it goes. So I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, we're just gonna roll with it. I'll try to find a better you know, station next time. All right. So hopefully hopefully you guys celebrated what you've done this week. You found something that you can celebrate. I'm going to just share mine just because I want to. And if you want to share, fine. If you don't, you don't have to. So I feel like this week, my biggest accomplishment is not feeling pressure, not setting an expectation to where I feel this pressure to do all the things, but instead just find peace with what I am doing and do the things that feel good. Like I've started to do the things that feel good instead of do the things that I feel like I have to do, because there's a difference with the feeling, right? When we do things because we have to instead of because we want to. I mean, we have to do certain things in life, you know, that's just the way it is. But things that don't serve me, that I feel like I have to do, I try not to do anymore because they just give me anxiety. And so this week I'm excited because I feel like this peace, because I've lowered the expectations and I'm just being. So feel free, you can share it in the chat, you can unmute yourself. We welcome anyone to talk because that's how we share and that's how we grow and that's how we relate with each other. But again, no pressure. Anyone?
I'll share.
Yay.
Okay, so I'm currently in quarantine, so I don't feel like mine is that big, but it's big to me. So I have my 4-year-old is home with me, and I washed 8 loads of laundry, dried, and put away with a 4-year-old home, even though I just wanted to like sit on the couch and like sulk in my sorrows and feel guilty for myself.
Yes. Man, 8 loads. Now that's a haul. That's a pretty big
I know. My water bill is going to be, but at least I have water, Tabitha.
Yeah, at least you have water because I
have
am
water.
having water problems with my well. So,
Yeah.
there could be worse. You could have no water and not be able to run the dishwasher and do laundry. So.
Oh, and I did dishes today too. Twice.
I'll just bring my stuff to your house.
No.
Anyone else want to share?
I'll share. I'm a stay-at-home, 4 kids, so I'm constantly doing chores. So when the prompt came up, it was like, oh yeah, I did this, but like nothing seemed like to move me. And then I thought on Thanksgiving, I went outside and I played football with 3 of my 4 kids. And then my daughter cheerleaded. And it was just like, that's what stood out to me as I was reflecting on the week. Like, oh, you took the time, because I get caught up. I don't take the time and it's bad. So that was it for me. So, but I gotta say, let's see, Danielle, wow, 8 loads, mama 4, I'll never be there. So I like major laundry envy here for sure. So.
No, I love that. And I feel the same way. I will sometimes stop in the moment and realize like what I'm doing, like with my kids, or realize that I'm actually, it's almost like you're watching yourself, like you're standing, afar, like watching yourself. And it's like, I'm like, wow, like, look at me being intentional with my time and really soaking in what's most important instead of the freaking dishes and the laundry, which I know after 8 loads, like you have to do it. But like, instead of focusing on all those things, I love it. I love that, what you said, because it's so often I get so freaking caught up. Like I wasn't the parent that sat around and played with my kids with toys, like when they were little. Wish I was.
No, and that actually brings up like probably even a bigger accomplishment. We played Uno as a family last night without fighting.
Ah.
So that's a big thing. If you know my family and my children, it's a big deal.
And that's what they're going to remember, stuff like that. That's what I remember about my, I don't know, stuff you remember, it's awesome. Okay, Brittany, good job. I wrote that I've managed to balance housework and schoolwork this past week on top of the holiday. Yes, it is. That stuff, just like the normal stuff that you feel like when you do it and you do it like well, some weeks we don't do it well. And I think that's okay too. It's okay to not do it well because we don't always do it well because it's a freaking struggle. Anyone else want to share? Feel free.
I'll go ahead and share.
Okay.
So Danielle's my sister and I live on her property. So the reason she is quarantined is because I have COVID. Luckily, no symptoms. But during this, I actually tested on Friday, came back Sunday that I was positive. So it's only been like 3 days that I've been at home. But in those 3 days, being 19, going to nursing school, and trying to have a social life is just not there. So having the time, I think my biggest accomplishment would be like trying to stay positive and like keeping myself positive throughout like quarantine. I think that was my family's biggest worry too, is me living alone and getting depressed over being alone and not having anything to do but schoolwork. But I've tried to turn it into a positive thing for myself, and finals are the 14th. What perfect time is, other than this time, is it to be quarantined than to sit in front of my computer for the next 14 days and study? So I've been just trying to stay positive.
I love that. No better time than to work on you, too, and to focus on you. Like it's so important. Awesome. Anyone else? Okay. Amanda, you want to?
I was going to.
Go
No, so last night was a big struggle for us. I'm recently divorced, so I have my own house, and so we share our 2 boys, and they share a room at my house, and it's been a struggle because my oldest, he is 7, and he is one of those that as soon as his head hits the pillow, he's asleep. And then my youngest is 5, and he's my night owl. So he stays up and plays and talks to himself and sings. So bedtime has been a real struggle, like the last 2 months we've been here. And so last night they were just kind of all over the place, and I was like, okay, you guys are going to bed. And then I ended up like, I had to take a step back because, it was bedtime, and I was, on them and yelling and doing more. And so I just wrote that I was able to like take a step back and like really address the situation and really talk to him. Like I ended up going in there and I sat down. I was like, you guys, like, I hate that you're home for 30 minutes and I'm yelling at you the entire time because you're not listening. And then we have like this bedtime situation, and just being able to sit back and, talk to them about it. My youngest said that I should quit my job and not have an office so he can have his own bedroom. I'm like, I really can't do that. So today I was like focusing on like things that I could do at home, to maybe free up our 3rd bedroom to give him his own bedroom, and just kind of throwing those ideas together. So that was nice. And then again, just like taking the time to soak in what was going on without reacting, being able to act towards the situation instead of reacting like I had been. But it's been an adjustment for all of us, but we're slowly sort of getting there. But yeah, it's been interesting.
Yes, I love that. And it's so true how we react, because we actually get to choose how we react to situations, but
Right.
but we don't always think about it right before we react. And it's like I yell at I'm like a yelling mother. And I'm not proud of that, but I yell. And it's like there's times where I'm just like, I'm gonna lose my ever loving, and then I yell, and then it probably didn't help at all. And then I feel bad, and then I fix it, right? But then there's times where I like don't yell, and I feel like I normally would have lost my SHIT, but I didn't. And then I'm like, yes, like I'm a good parent, I don't know. I'm just like, wow, I really reacted in the way that I normally don't. So like every that's such a win. And I try to reflect on that too, because we can always do better, but we all have those moments. And it is an adjustment. It's a big adjustment for you guys that you're going through. So you kind of have to embrace that and just give each other grace, but like you said, do what you can to kind of try to be patient, because patience is not my strong suit at all.
Me neither. Me neither.
Anyone else want to share on that one? And then we'll go to the next. Katie, Waylon, you want to? You don't have to. I just didn't know if you wanted to. I'm not putting you on the spot, but kind of I am without meaning to.
So it was kind of weird. Like it was just kind of like a aha moment for me. So we talked about it earlier today too, about putting myself first and how big of an adjustment that is. And we've also been talking a lot about control. And I always thought, so there was a situation in high school, and I kind of lost control, I guess. Well, I felt like I lost control. So because of that, I always thought I needed to control everything. So I was always trying to find that control in controlling others and just everything in my life. And it's like, okay, I can only control myself. And that's the power that that I lost back in high school. So it was just like, okay, here I've been for the last 15 years going after something that wasn't, I don't know, it was just kind of like it all clicked for
Yeah.
me.
Like you're uncovering like the control, like we talked earlier, you're uncovering it with something that happened.
Right,
And it's stemming from that.
right.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. I love you and I love that. I'm so proud of you. Okay, so if no one else wants to share, we're gonna move forward with the next one, and I'm gonna play this really awesome music when I share. Okay, so number 2 is gonna be, I want you to write about something. We started with something positive, and this is still can be positive, but I want you to write about something heavy on your heart, anything. And maybe there's nothing heavy on your heart, and that's okay. That's awesome if there isn't. Usually there is, right? So write something that you're feeling on your heart right now, whether it could be good, it could be heavy, whatever, and release it on paper. Release it. Let it go. Let it out. Share it. Share the feelings. Share what's behind it. Share the emotion. And go for it. All right, I'm going to play some jams.
Free forms, 25 days, 25 days, 25 days of Christmas song. I didn't know you were that excited about Christmas now, Tabitha.
You know me. La 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 la. Okay, I feel like most of us are done. So I'll share really quick mine, and then if anyone else wants to. So I wrote a few things down, but the number one thing, I think for me is that I didn't get to spend. I have both sets of my grandparents, and I didn't get to spend the holidays with one of my sets of grandparents. And I know a lot of people are going through this right now, but I'm very close. Like my grandparents kind of sort of raised me. In the early stages of my life, and it breaks my heart that I can't see them, and like my kids can't see them in the way that we normally do, and they're 85-ish, and my grandpa struggles with depression, so he's sitting at home in his home doing nothing, staring at the wall, and he has panic attacks. And my grandma just took him to the ER like a few weeks ago because he couldn't breathe. And anyways, turns out it was a panic attack. But anyways, it just breaks my heart. But I know so many people are dealing with that kind of thing. But at this point, I'm like, am I ever going to be able to be with them in the normal way that we were? Like, because time's freaking ticking. And anyway, so that I'm grateful that they live close by. I'm grateful I can still go outside and like I can still go there. There's been a couple times where I went in the house, but taking them food over and different things like that. Luckily they're healthy-ish. My grandma's still pretty healthy. So anyway, I know a lot of people are struggling with that. But I'm trying to embrace all the good things that, I've had in my life with them. So if anyone else would like to share, I know this is kind of like, this is maybe one that you might not want to, and it's fine if you do or don't. You're welcome to.
I can share.
Okay.
And I'll try not to lose my SHIT with this one.
If you lose it, it's okay.
No, I might lose it for sure, but I'm gonna try not to. Okay, so I found out last week that my stepmom has breast cancer. Again. Okay, give me a minute.
You got it.
The first time that she was diagnosed was within months of my oldest son passing away. That was almost 14 years ago. Not only am I sad for her and what she will be facing, but it reminds me of the worst time in my life. Okay, that's it. I'm done.
I'm giving you a virtual hug. Well, prayers for her for sure. I'll be praying for her. Hopefully, you said they don't really know quite yet, right? Like they can't give the prognosis, right?
Yeah, she goes in next Wednesday for another scan. She went to the doctor and he's pretty confident that it'll be okay. But right when the doctor's appointment was, when it was almost over, he's like, I want to do one more scan because there's a spot that's like near her rib that he wants to like make sure that's not cancer, like it's not spread. But I just know, I had one thing that scares me is that one of my cousins a couple years ago, she had beat breast cancer and it came back 5 years later and it just took over. And she passed away a couple years ago. So, it's just scary. And like I said, like her last diagnosis was, 14 years ago when, my husband and I were, when we lost our firstborn. And so it just brings back all of that, obviously I'm always going to struggle with that. And I think that that's where a lot of my anxiety comes from, is that. And I think that, like what, Katie had mentioned is, which her story is different. I try to control situations because that was a situation that I could not control. It was something out of I had no power over that, and it just was taken from me. And so I feel like I try to, my daughter's calling me from upstairs. I'm ignoring her. I try to take power in other things, and like whenever they're not going the way that I want them to go, I feel like that causes anxiety. So
It does. It
Yeah,
truly.
that's what I'm dealing with right now. So, but we'll know, hopefully we'll know more next week when she has her scan, and um, they're just hoping that she can do chemo and not have to do surgery. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I got to answer this. Hopefully nobody's dying.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else want to share? So if not, Olivia just got up. Okay, so the next thing, this is like, Olivia had a couple prompts too, so I want to like, we're going to go ahead with the next one that I had down, and then I'm going to turn it over to her. So the next thing, number 3, is what is one change you want to make within yourself for the better? What is one thing? Be specific, and it could be a small thing, but you know, small things lead to big things, right? So no, nothing is too small. So what is one change you would want to make within yourself for the better? And part 2 of the question is, what step are you going to take in order to start that change, in order to start that process? Okay. What is one change you want to make within yourself for the better? And what is the step that you're going to take this week, today, now, present time, to start that change, to move forward with that change? Okay. So mine's short and simple, kind of. I feel like I have a lot of changes going on within right now. Honestly, small but like powerful. But I feel like patience. I kind of already said that, but patience, and then with that, the step that I'm taking to gain the patience is finding joy in all situations, finding the joy in my everyday life. And giving myself breaks, more breaks to enjoy my kids, more breaks to enjoy my life instead of letting my to-do list and all the things take control over me, which gives me more patience because it takes the stress off, because I'm not focusing, what I'm focusing on is joy and my kids and the things that I love, instead of focusing on the things that stress me out and make me impatient. Because you know how it is when it's like the reaction thing we talked about a while ago. It's like, a lot of times we react because we have so much up here, you know, that feeling of like, I can't take on one more thing. It's like when you have a million things to do and your kids are like, meh, 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 and you're just like, like you're about to blow because you feel like you can't, I don't know, you need like space and you need, I don't know. So anyways, anyone else want to share? Go for it. Share.
Okay, so I was like half listening to what I think we're supposed to be doing because I was dealing with fighting children, but okay, so I wrote, I want to be able to listen and be there for other people without taking on their emotions and allowing it to drag me down. I feel like sometimes I'm too empathetic and it causes me stress and anxiety. And then I wrote, I am going to start telling people when I don't feel like I am strong enough to take on their problems in a nice way.
Yes. I love it. We all take on energy, I think, that we shouldn't so often, you know, because we feel we're good humans and we want to help people, but we as humans soak in the energy that people give off, and sometimes it can be sort of toxic.
I just sometimes feel like I live through other people's like emotions. Like if they tell me something that they're like struggling with, like I feel like I'm going to struggle with them.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I already have my own issues and like own anxiety. And I feel like it just sometimes is not healthy for me. So it's like, I've got to figure out some way to just nicely say to them, okay, I need to not, you know, I'll be here for you, but I need to make sure that I'm like in a place to help you or to be here.
Yeah, that you protect your boundaries, you know? That's like a big boundary, I think, and that's awesome that you're putting that up for yourself. I think it's because you're a really freaking awesome human, and you just like, you love with all your heart, and I think that's partly why, though, that you feel that way, because you feel what other people feel because you genuinely care. So that's a good thing, but in your situation it can be.
Yeah, I feel like, and if I can find the link before we end this, I feel like I've shown Olivia this. So Brene Brown is one of my favorite authors. I love her. And she's got a couple videos out there because she does some TED Talks, I guess. And one of my favorite ones that she does is on empathy. And it's like kind of like dubbed over with like a cartoon. And I love it. Like it's really like nice. Like it kind of like defines like the difference between like sympathy and empathy. And it's like I am a completely empathetic person, and so much that like I said, I live through them, and I need to probably like slow my roll a little bit. But I'll put that in there because I think that it's, I think
Yeah,
it's
that's
nice
a good
to.
one. I'd like to read that.
Okay, I'll see if I can. It's just a little short like YouTube video. It's like 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
So actually, I won't put it in here because once we end this, it'll delete it. So I'll share it in the group.
Okay, cool. Anyone else want to share?
I'll share.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Ashley.
Hi.
Nice to meet you all.
It's good to see your face.
Yeah, I know. I feel like we talk all the time, but I've never actually seen you in person. Yeah, but something that I'm working on changing right now within myself is I have a terrible habit of doing just negative talk constantly in my head, whether it be about myself or the situation, to the point where I don't even realize that I'm doing it. It's just how my brain works at this point. It's always like, well, this is going to end up tragic, or this isn't going to work. This is going to be bad, which obviously causes a lot of anxiety. So I think the step that I've been trying to take and that I'm continuing to take is to really take every thought captive and to not just think, oh, well, I thought it, so it's true. That I don't have to accept every thought that I think, that I can kind of decide which ones I want to be truth for me and which ones are just, oh, that was just a thought in my head. This isn't real. So that's been really difficult, but that's something I've been working on.
I love it. I think we all can relate with that too, for sure.
That was actually mine.
Really?
Same exact thing, Ashley. Yeah,
And look it up.
yeah. Seriously, I have said this to people that are closest to me before, but I would never talk to other people the way I talk to myself. I would never say the things that I say to myself to other people ever, because I'm not a mean person. But for some reason, it's okay for me to talk that way to myself. So mine was exactly the same thing. And what you said about like, taking those thoughts and, just because you thought it doesn't mean it's so. And that's so right on. So relatable. And I also just want to say, I'm going to say this while I'm here. Thank you, Tabitha, for opening this up for us. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. I'm so glad. I feel like this is so powerful. Like, it's just so powerful when we come together like this. I feel like this is even more of a like step up together to do this, because the group's awesome and it's amazing, but sometimes you don't get the chatter, sometimes you don't get the engagement in there in groups that you wish for whatever reason, and it'll go in spurts and stuff. But this will, I think, be amazing for us to like sort of the lifers, the ones that are like really want to make the change. I think these calls are just amazing. So thank you for being a part of it. It's good to get the good feedback from the group. Anyone else? If not,
I'll share on this one.
okay, go for it, Olivia. And
Okay, so
if you want to do your prompts.
okay, sounds good. So recently, this is a new thing. I've always struggled with depression, but recently I've been like going into full-on panic attacks, and it's because, and like I've had to sit down and like really get in my own head and realize why these were happening, because they had never happened before. So I was so confused on why all of a sudden, and realized eventually that I like strive off of instant gratification. So like my sister was saying earlier, if you don't get the answer you want at the moment, or you don't get the object or like the idea or anything at the very moment you're thinking it, then it's like my mind automatically just like freaks out and it sends me into a panic attack. And so when I was like writing about it in the journaling, I was thinking one step to move forward, and honestly just like walking away from the situation and taking a deep breath and realizing, like really digging deep into it and realizing that every aspect around it, that the situation at hand, I mean, it can literally be as simple as buying a car. I wanted a new car, so what did I do? I went and got a new car. Now I have a new car, and I'm like, I would have driven that one till it died if I would have just waited a month longer to make sure that that's what I wanted to do. But so I think for myself to move forward from that is just walking away and realizing that in that moment, there's so much more than what I'm taking from it. So looking at every aspect of it instead of just when I freak out, then my mind just kills me. But Tabitha, do you want me to go ahead and take over? If anyone else wants to share, you can go ahead and share.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So we've been talking, some of the stuff we've been saying is more towards the positive aspects, but a lot of it's more the negative and what we're thinking in our own head. And journaling is important to let out what's bothering you, but not only what's bothering you. A step in journaling is realizing what's positive in your life and what's good in your life, which is way harder to do than the negative stuff. So my first prompt is, what are 3 positive things you like about yourself? And these can be mentally, like how you process things, how you do things in your own head, or they can be physically. So Tabitha, do you want to play music still? Okay. You're on mute.
Yep, I'll play it.
Okay. So it was just, what are 3 positive things you like about yourself, either mentally or physically, however you see that question.
I was actually telling Olivia before we started, we were talking about what prompts we were going to use. And I'm like, I used to have such a hard time coming up with things that like I thought I was good at. But like now I don't. But why is it so hard? I don't know if it's because we don't allow ourselves like to to almost praise ourselves, you know, or to pat ourselves on the back. It's interesting, but I just wanted to chime in because of the chat. You guys were saying that was like, that's really hard to do.
No, and I agree with that, because I think it's also like you're taught to like, there's like a stigma of like
conceited, or
you're conceited, or you have a big head, or like, oh, that person thinks that they're just all that in a bag of chips and
Right.
a box of ho-hos.
Okay, so I will share first, and then whoever wants to go ahead and share afterwards, they can. So, like everybody else is saying, it's hard, very hard. But the 3 things I came up with were, all 3 of them can be flipped the other way. I can make them negative if I really think hard, but my love for others, so like Danielle was saying earlier, I do the same thing where I feel everyone's pain, and it can be negative, very negative, because it starts to drag you down. But if you didn't have that, I feel like you'd be kind of heartless if you just didn't care about anyone else's struggles. So I do like that I care about others. That's why I love this group so much. And another one is my drive for getting things done. Hate nursing school with my whole entire heart, but here I am still doing it. And being able to be alone, because this is something I learned like within the past 6 months. I'm the baby of the family. Why would you want to be alone when you get everything? You don't. So I had that. Then I moved out a year ago this December. And then all of a sudden, like, me and my boyfriend broke up, and then I was just alone and did not know how to do anything on my own. And it's not even like physically do anything on my own. It's like the mental aspect of it. That's when I began to get really depressed and stuff. So within the last 6 months, I've had to like retrain my brain and realize how to be alone and things like to do in my free time. Just me, myself, and I, and how to make myself happy. So being able to do that and being able to write that down now, and I wouldn't have been able to 6 months ago, is a positive thing for me. Anybody else want to share?
I'll share if nobody else wants to go. Okay. I think I'm pretty damn funny.
I think so too.
Okay, I was waiting on it.
I think
I was waiting on
I
your
don't. You're not
agreement.
funny.
I think that I am a good friend, and I will do anything to help other people.
Very true.
True dat.
True that.
I'll go.
Yeah, go for
You
it.
can see me besides my dog here. She's in my face. I feel like I'm very positive. I always see the positive side of things. I'm also a doer. I'm a helper. Like, if I see something that needs done, I'll do it. I'm a doer. And I struggled with the third one, but I said, like, overall, like, I'm a good mom.
Yeah.
Even whenever the days that I want to lose my SHIT, I'm still, at the end of the day, I'm still a good mom. So yeah.
Yes.
I'll go. Oh, my husband just came up.
Crap.
So someone else go first. No, I'm kidding. Just ignore what I'm about to say.
Is he gonna like disagree with you?
Well, I said my first one, we're like-minded, because I said, I'm a goof. People think it's funny. I can make people laugh. My second one is I'm friendly, overly friendly at times. And my third one, I went with the physical. I like my long legs, my big saggy boobs, and my curly frizzy hair.
I love
So
it.
that I went with it.
That's right. I have the saggy boobs too, just so you know. It's fine.
It's all right.
I think
I'm fine with it.
I think they're in, really. I think they're in.
Honestly, on a serious note though, like to say things about yourself that you like out loud kind of a scary place to be, you know, and then
It
you
is
know,
scary.
it's kind of like, who does that? It's like you said, that stigma, you know, so
But
I
that's
felt,
why we're doing this.
yeah,
so.
totally. That's why I wanted to share, even though I was being like silly with
Yeah.
the last one, but I do like those things about myself.
But I think that saggy boobs are like the new dad bod thing. Like it's
Yeah.
they're in.
Like, whatever, man, I'm 40, I don't know, 4 kids, whatever.
Yeah. It's fine.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Me too. I don't even have kids yet.
Yeah. Well,
You're making it sound good.
Yeah, it's great. It is. It's wonderful.
I think there's so much growth though behind like being able, I think that stems back to like taking yourself, like making yourself a priority though, because when you do, you start, and when you appreciate yourself for what you're doing for yourself and what you are capable of and your potential, that's where I think that you start to like realize I am amazing, you know, in so many ways. And I am successful. And I, you know, whatever, like they say, like with affirmations, you're supposed to say, instead of like, I will be successful, like I am successful, you know, I am strong and powerful and whatever. So I think it's amazing to like praise yourself because like Danielle said, I don't know what it is, but there was like all this, I don't know, there still is, I guess, but I feel like I don't notice that anymore about the stigma as much because I think because you want growth and you want to better yourself and you don't see that as much as we were taught when we were brought up, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think more it's now like self-care is the cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it wasn't like my mom was like saying like, I'm, you know, like she wasn't saying positive affirmations. She wasn't like, you are.
Yeah.
You are kind of who you were brought up by, you know, not that that's a bad thing because like our parents did what they could do, but I mean, it just was a different time. And like you said, Olivia, it's just different. It's centered around that more.
That's why like I make sure that I tell my kids, you know, because I hear people say like, and I tell my kids that they're beautiful and they're cute all the time. But it's like I don't want them to only think that of themselves. Like, so I tell them all the time, like, you are so smart, you are such a good person, like, you know, like all of these things, because it's like I want them to actually feel that way about themselves when they're older. Because like I feel like, you know, no, maybe my mom did tell me those things. Maybe she did. I don't know. But I also my mom was 16 when she had me. So it's like, I make sure that I point out to my kids that there are other things about them, not just their looks, because that's what's important. I want them to know that they are smart and that they're loved and that they, you know, that they're worth it and that they can like have you know, that they can compliment themselves. Like I want them to do that. I don't want them to have a big head and be conceited, but I want them to, you know, I want them to be able to feel like that they have a self-worth, a self-worth. Goodness.
Yeah.
I think I struggle with it too because if Tabitha, I don't know if you've met my mom. None of the rest of you have, except obviously my sister. But the most positive human on this planet. Everything that comes out of her mouth is positive, and she wants you to be positive 24/7. So like when I got quarantined, all I was thinking is I'm going to fail out of nursing school. 2 weeks of nursing school online, I'm going to fail. And on the phone with my mom, no, this is perfect. You're fine. Think this, think that. And when I'm like in that negative like mindset, I just want to strangle her. I'm like, I'm not thinking like that right now, Mom. I do not care what you have to say. Like, you're wrong. I'm right. And afterwards, I'm like, which don't tell her this, but afterwards, I'm like, okay, maybe she was right. Maybe I am a little negative about almost every situation I'm in. So I definitely struggle with that because my mom is so positive.
And maybe it's because we were praised. Like, I don't feel like I was praised. Like, not that I praise my kids, but I do try to build them up and pour belief in them, not just in a situation that they're in that they're struggling. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you were saying, Danielle, where it's like, I feel like my mom would build me up when I maybe was down on myself, but like, it wasn't like she really spoke greatness into me, like not that there's anything wrong. I'm not like holding a grudge against her, but I just think that a lot of us were raised not that way, you know? Probably because our parents didn't believe it about themselves, right? If you don't believe it about yourself, you're not going to transpose that into your kids, right?
Well, it's generational,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like my grandparents were like that. Our grandpa was very like, you only talk to me if you're bleeding, like don't talk to me, that sort of thing. And it's like, then my mom grew up that way. And so it's like my mom tried to correct her mistakes with us. She didn't perfect it.
Yeah.
She was not going to perfect it. And it's like, so I'm trying to learn from her mistakes. And, and my kids will learn from mine, hopefully. So I think it's just a generational thing. And not that our parents did bad, it's just that they were trying to fix the things that they felt like they didn't get out of, growing up. And they can't fix everything. And you're going to make mistakes. I'm going to screw my kids up somehow.
Right. Dang it.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next prompt that I have, just for time's sake. The next one I have is, what's a past experience that you are holding on to? So this can be something that bothers you every day of your life, or maybe it's just like when you're down or upset, and then it starts to become a problem for you. So again, just what's a past experience you are holding on to?
Now's the time to get a great deal on Highlander, RAV4, Tacoma, and more. And if my husband's listening,
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share this one. So what is a past experience you are holding on to? So not going to go into detail because we'd be here for hours, but my dad, my birth dad. So like I question in my own head all the time, like things that happen, and I go into like, because I don't have a relationship with him and my stepdad raised me. So because I have the heart I do, I constantly think like, this is morbid, but I constantly think about like when he passes away, am I going to regret not having that relationship? And would it hurt my stepdad's feelings if I had a relationship with him in the future? And like obviously my stepdad's going to walk me down the aisle someday. Like if you have been depressed, you never want anyone else to feel that after feeling it. So it's like, then I wonder if he is depressed or has any other mental health going on because he doesn't have his daughter. And I just have all these thoughts always going through my head because of that situation. So I definitely hold on to that, and I probably will forever, honestly.
I'll go ahead and share, but I basically have the same life as you, so I can relate. But I think just from that, growing up, I grew up with a sister, a mom, and a grandma where I didn't have a stepdad or a dad. And so relationships with like men growing up were always really difficult. So my last boyfriend, who I dated for 3 years, we were planning on like getting married and everything, and his mom kind of just like went crazy and decided she didn't like me, and she texted him and said, I'll do whatever it takes to break you up. I don't want you marrying her. But that's a whole nother story. But I think like what she said to me just really sticks to me. She said, which I didn't even know this bothered me until I wrote it down. When we first broke up, she gave me a hug and said, well, just so you know, I've been praying for him to meet a nice Christian girl, and you're just not her. And I think it's always when things happen like good to me, or like I'm in a different relationship now, I think, well, I'm just not her. I'm just not it. Like I'm not it. And that kind of plays in my head over and over again. And that's just something I need to let go and realize that I'm enough the way that I am. And I could just kind of let that go.
No, I for sure understand that. My ex-boyfriend, actually, his mom told him, we were dating for 2 years and lived together, and his mom told him, I don't know why you always pick girls with daddy issues. And that like settled in my head because I was like, I've struggled with that my whole entire life. Like I had my dad and then I had my stepdad, and like always trying to battle, like the battle between them. And then like you said, it carries into your relationships in the future. And so I understand that completely.
And isn't it amazing how like one person saying something about you like can just completely like allow you to sabotage yourself even more than we already struggle with sometimes. It's crazy when it's like their opinion doesn't friggin' matter. Like it doesn't have anything to do with us, right? And people have opinions about us that we don't even know, that we would probably die, not really, if we knew. But it really doesn't matter, right? Because people are going to think whatever they want. Unfortunately, no matter what you do. But like yeah.
That actually reminds me of, I was just telling my boss this the other day. When I was little, I always remember like, what do you want your superpower to be? And I would always say, I want to read people's minds. And now I'm like, I never want to read people's minds. I don't want to know what they think about me or what they're thinking in general.
No, just maybe kids once in a while. Like what, but nobody else.
Yeah.
So I'll go, and I promise I won't cry this time. Okay, so mine is, I don't know if you saw me like shaking my head when Olivia was reading that question. So obviously like the biggest impact on my life was whenever we lost our son. And it could have been avoided. the whole situation could have been avoided had the doctor paid attention to what was going on. I won't go into detail. If you actually saw my live in the mental health group, you have a little bit of an idea, even though my video is cutting in and out with poor connection to the internet. But if you saw my live at all, you have a little bit of idea of like what happened. But it's a situation that could have been completely avoided. And even 14 years later, I still cannot stand the sight of that man. If I see him in a public place, I turn around and I walk the other way. If he were to fall off the face of the earth, I would not shed a tear. And I feel like that's not good for my mental health. I have so much anger towards this person that I don't care. Like, honestly, like, I know it sounds awful, but I mean, I don't really wish anything bad to happen to him because I know he has a family, I know he has kids, all these things, but like, I would not be sad. And that's not healthy for me to feel that way, to have so much anger towards somebody because I know he's got so much power over my mental health that I'm not exactly sure how to let go of. For anybody that is a parent, you know, it's like, it's the type of loss that you're never going to get over. You know, losing a child, like, you're never going to get over that. It's not something that you can just forget and forgive. And so, like, I still have the thought in my head, and I play it in my head so often, of being wheeled into this room where I'm telling my son basically goodbye, and I see him sitting in a chair with like his head down on a desk because he knows that he did wrong. And I have that plan. I play that in my head over and over and over again. And I would really like to be able to just like cut that like power from him, because he has so much power over me right now. And that's 14 years later. Like, I just don't know. I don't know whenever I'm going to be able to like get past that.
Anyone else want to share? All right, I'm going to move on to the next question. What is driving you to change? Whether that's your career, your routine, your health, significant other, kids, whatever it is, what's driving you to change? All right. So for this one, I had being able to love. I've been working on self-love a lot and self-care and all of that, but being able to love yourself and accept yourself how you are and make those changes that you want to make means you have way more to give to other people. And I'm somebody that likes to give. And I think that like the drive is being able to help other people because I don't have the money. I'm 19 and nursing school, so that should give it to you right there. So, and it's not just about like the money aspect of giving to people. So for sure my drive is to be able to help those around me, whether that's just words, love to them, or whatever it is. But I have to love myself first to be able to do that, instead of it just being like, here's this, like, I don't actually care, but you need help.
Okay, I'll go. Nobody else is going, so I'll go. So I wrote down my children. My children are my world, and I want them to be proud of me, and I want them to have a positive role model.
There's that little guy. He's so cute. He's too cute for his own good.
Hey, bring him back. Tell him I want to see him.
He needs a haircut.
Oh yeah,
Hi, Bubby.
you guys can't even see.
I don't have any hair.
I forget you guys can't see each other. I was thinking, why aren't you guys doing the call together? Well, that makes sense. Duh.
It's sad.
Because
I hate it.
she didn't have COVID. She's out in the West Wing.
I feel like the last question, like all of ours, is probably sort of similar, right? Kind of, just with why. Like there's always emotion behind what we do. There has to be emotional attachment behind the drive behind why we do what we do. So, okay, so we're going to end this. If anyone has anything they want to say, that's totally fine. I had no idea how long this was going to go. I love it. I'm good with it, but I just know that this was kind of lengthy, which is cool. But this is a lot for some people maybe to invest in a call. However, so next time we'll probably maybe just do like 3 affirmations, and then I have a task that we're going to do after that. So then we'll just kind of sort of be more mindful. But I appreciate you guys bearing with this first call, because again, I had no idea. And I love the interaction, because a lot of times people are kind of scared to share, and it's kind of nerve-wracking at first, but it's a safe space, and it's all good because we can all relate to so many things. So I appreciate all the sharing. And I hope that you found this super powerful, and I hope that I'll see you again on the 15th. So mark that in your calendar. And I'll post more about that. We'll use this very same link. This is the link that I always use for my Zooms. So it'll be the same link at 7 p.m. again, Central Standard Time, which is 8 p.m. Ashley's time.
Well, and everybody
I don't know
better
why I
feel
never
comfortable,
know.
because I just
I'm like, am I
broke.
Eastern?
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I'm just laughing because when people post times, I'm like, I don't know